Before I even get into anything, I don't want to make this video dark and depressing, because the last thing that I want to do is make this a topic that people don't want to talk about. If this discussion had been opened up years ago, or if Shane Dawson made his video years ago, I might not have fallen into the trap that I did. And just because this is as lighthearted as possible and I'm smiling and I'm not super sad, doesn't mean that I don't take this seriously. This topic has plagued my life. I have seen 4 therapists because of this specific situation, okay? If anyone takes this seriously, it's me. And that's why I feel like I should I felt like I should share a little bit of my story, because if I can talk about it in a comfortable way, then maybe people will be a little bit more comfortable talking about sociopaths and personality disorders in general, because it's something that not a lot of people talk about and not a lot of people understand, and it's a big part of my life, so here I am to... So right off the bat, I know that 6 billion out of the 7 billion people on this planet has already seen his new series, but if you haven't for some reason, first of all, welcome to YouTube, and second of all, it's an 8-part series, but only 2 parts of it has been released so far, and it seems to originally be about Jake Paul and the Paul brothers, but there seems to be a deeper meaning to it, which is basically, could they be sociopaths? How many YouTubers are sociopaths? Do you have to have a personality disorder to be a YouTuber? So I want to just give out this warning for those of you who haven't gotten this warning. I wish I would have, honestly. It has been fantastic so far. Being someone who has felt the abuse of a sociopathic person, this series, particularly the second part, has been very triggering for me. Really, really good, but I kind of like cried, you know what I'm saying? And I think the reason why it got to me so much is because of how accurate it was. And they were talking in a, you know, clinical, third-person point of view, but being someone who has experienced this firsthand, it's just a lot for like 2 people to be talking about like your traumas without any emotion attached to it. If that makes any sense, I don't know, just like a little bit of trigger warning if you haven't seen it yet and you have dealt with this kind of thing before, just letting you know. I will still continue to watch the series just because I think it is very good and very sensitive, so I personally feel comfortable watching it even though it did affect me a little bit. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is Katie Morton, which if you don't know, Katie Morton is the therapist that Shane Dawson has worked with throughout this series. The second episode is basically all about her. And I actually have a personal story having to do with Katie that I really wanted to share because I thought it was so weird. So I saw my therapist the day before Shane put out his first episode. But in the midst of our discussion, my therapist actually brought up Katie and recommended that I watch her videos. And I think I had seen her BPD video once, but other than that, I haven't really heard of her. I didn't even remember her name. I love filming in my house. What was I even? Oh yeah. So my therapist basically said that her videos were really informative and really good and she really knew what she was talking about. And he, as a therapist, like watches her regularly. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, like I'll watch her videos, whatever. And then the next day, Shane comes out with this series. And she's in it. Like, what? It's so weird. And the fact that me and my therapist primarily talk about my, you know, trauma with a sociopath, and then like he recommends Katie Morton, and then Katie Morton is in Shane Dawson's series about sociopaths. Like, please explain. And like now I'm making this video. Like, so weird. But that just goes to show you that if my, you know, clinician, my therapist is watching and recommending her, then she clearly knows what she's talking about if other therapists are recommending her. And personally, I don't think that she gave any biased information. She literally just pulled out the DSM and read off all of the bullet points that make up antisocial personality disorder, which I thought was really responsible. And then she presented the information in a more like digestible way for people who maybe don't know about personality disorders. This is my dad, say hi.
Hey, babe.
Oh my god, love you too, bye. Sorry. And that actually brings me on to my next point. I understand that this is a really sensitive and controversial topic. Basically, if you haven't seen, Shane has been getting a lot of hate on these videos, which I don't understand for a few reasons. One is that I think he approached the situation in a very respectful and sensitive way. He's also like the biggest teddy bear ever who just wants to help everyone. I understand though, especially someone like me who has been a victim, I hate that word, of something like this. But people saying that like, oh, my friend's a sociopath and this video offended her and oh, I'm a sociopath and this was so insensitive. If the video bothered you, you're probably not a sociopath. I'm sorry. That's like the whole thing, you know? Is that like it wouldn't bother you because you don't care. If you feel like your symptoms align with what was said in the DSM-5 in his video, then I highly recommend seeing a clinician or a therapist or a psychiatrist, because the thing with personality disorders, if you don't know, there are 3 clusters of personality disorders, A, B, and C. And a lot of the times, personality disorders within the same cluster will mimic each other's symptoms. For example, you might have like narcissistic personality disorder, but a lot of the symptoms are very similar to antisocial and you think you're a sociopath when you're actually not. So if you're concerned, I highly recommend going to seek treatment. But if you're offended, like, you're like probably not. I don't know. If your friend's telling you she's offended, I think that lets you know that she's like not a sociopath. I think he knew that going into it, you know, and that's probably why he felt a little bit more comfortable talking about these kinds of things, because he knew that, like, there's no way to really offend them. And it's even sweet that just in the first place, he thought about, oh, like, I don't want to offend any sociopaths, even though, like, that's the whole thing, is that they don't, like, feel stuff like that. They aren't offended. It just shows, like, how sweet he is. So I guess that brings us to my own personal experience with a sociopath and how I felt like I could relate to his videos. I'm gonna be pretty vague, just letting you know, because getting into too many details would honestly be pretty triggering. And that's not really what this video is about. But basically, yeah, my relationship with this person was very abusive and toxic and manipulative, but it took me years to figure out that it was. For so long, I thought they were fantastic. That's the thing about them, is that they're just so good. If someone seems too good to be true, they probably are. So for so long, I didn't realize that I was in this cycle of emotional abuse. I was put into very dangerous situations by this person, like life-threatening. You know, sometimes police got involved. They would always cause drama and cause fights, but not because they actually cared or wanted to. It's just because they just liked that. It's almost like they like got off on it. Like they would play it off like they're defending one of their friends, but it's really just because they just like pitting people against each other, and then they always come out like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. That's the thing about it, is like, looking back, there are so many red flags, but every single time they make it seem like they're always the victim and they never do anything wrong. If you ever try to confront them about something, you always come out feeling like you're the guilty one. Even if they blatantly were the one who did something wrong, you will come out feeling like you're the one who did something wrong, which has contributed to a lot of my self-esteem issues, even though I know that it was all just like fake. You know, after being told that you're the bad guy for so long, it really weighs down on you. This person viewed me as a stepping stone. Obviously, I am not in this person's head, but I could honestly say that if everyone that they love were to drop dead right now, they wouldn't care. They would act like they care. In fact, they'd probably love it, because then that means that all the attention's on them. But they wouldn't actually care. And the guilt tripping, oh my god. That's how they like get you, you know? They make you feel bad for them. And it's always a constant pity party. But they're just so good at convincing you that, like, it's deserving. And you should feel bad for them. And that's why, you know, you want to help them, is because you feel so bad for them and they make you, oh, poor them. Katie Morton mentioned the fact that they will put themselves into careers or situations where they have power over other people. And this person that I'm talking about, for example, had children just so they could have power over other individuals. It's crazy to think that a person could be a mother or a father but not give an actual shit about their kids. Those children exist purely to be controlled and for their own gain. It's crazy. And being an empath, just like Shane, I think this is why I was able to get out of it, because every time this person would cry or express to me how they're feeling, I never felt like I could be in a room full of people who are upset. Like, I can't really go to funerals because it's so overwhelming for me, because I feel everyone's sadness, but this person could be crying right in front of me and I just felt nothing. Like, I could tell they were lying, because like they're crying in front of me, and they would even be talking about like the death of a loved one, but I could tell that they weren't actually sad. And this is where it's gonna get like a little depressing, just warning you. The worst part about all of this is that every single moment with this person was a lie. Every single conversation, time spent, anything was all calculated and fake. It has affected my self-esteem and my trust issues and my abandonment issues, and I'm still dealing with the consequences of being in this person's life to this day. It's something that I really hate talking about, to be honest. It's like, but I think it's important, you know? If I could help one person who is being manipulated by someone like this, it's so worth it, you know? Oh my god, I was not expecting to get emotional. They can be really dangerous, and this person, specifically that I'm thinking of, can be very dangerous. And that's another part of it too. Normally in these situations, you are probably the only one who knows the truth about this person, because they have been so good at convincing everyone that they're this great person. And you start to feel responsible for everyone else in this person's life because you're the one who knows the truth, and you want to help everyone else because everyone else around them is also being manipulated and gaslighted and abused. But the other shitty thing about it is that once this person figures out that you know who they really are, they have already gone to every single other person who you mutually know and told them that you're the liar and you're the crazy one. It's just not worth it. If I have any advice for anyone in this situation, just let it go. There is no point in confronting this person, trying to get an apology from this person. If they do give you an apology, it's a lie. My biggest advice is just to distance yourself, you know, and try to help anyone else that you can. But, you know, after trying once, it sucks. But just distance yourself. Just get out of the situation, get far away from that person, cut ties, whatever you have to do. And this brings me to my final point. I know before I was talking about the fact that they don't get offended by these things and it, you know, doesn't really matter. But I don't want to dehumanize these people. They are still human beings, and most of them haven't committed any crimes. And even though they're probably manipulating the people in their life, I'm sure a lot of them don't do serious damage, and I'm sure it's a spectrum just like any mental illness, and every single person's case is probably different in different ways. That's why honestly I don't really like the word sociopath or psychopath. I'm pretty sure those words aren't recognized by the psychiatric community anymore. I mean, they're obviously descriptive words with definitions, but a therapist wouldn't diagnose someone as a sociopath, you know what I'm saying? That's why I don't like saying sociopath. I don't like saying you're bipolar or you're OCD or you're borderline, because you're not that, you have that. You are a person with bipolar disorder, you're a person with obsessive compulsive disorder, and you're a person with antisocial personality disorder. All I ask is just to have a little bit of compassion for these people. Not to the point where they can take advantage of that, but it does suck for them. You know, even though they don't know what it's like to have compassion and emotions, so they don't really know the difference, it still sucks. Just like if there was someone who was born blind or born with a disability, no, they've never seen color before, but I still wish that they someday will. And psychology is always changing, so who knows? One day, what if there's a cure? I don't think we should give up hope, is all I'm saying. And even if there's not a cure, what if we, you know, learn more about it and we, you know, learn more CBT techniques? It helps us better understand, and maybe we can break through to these people and at least offer some sort of comfort and treatment for what they have. Because remember, not only do they not care about other people, but they don't care about themselves. They don't care if they die, and that's sad. But anyways, guys, that's all I really had to say. I hope I carried on the discussion of personality disorders, and you can all share your stories down below, and hopefully I have helped somebody who is in this situation. Well, no, actually, hopefully nobody's in this situation. The unfortunate reality is that a lot of people are, so I hope that I gave you some insight. I'm so excited for the rest of the series. Oh my god, so good. But anyway, yeah, if you're new to my channel, subscribe and like this video if you thought it was helpful, and dislike it if you're a sociopath. Go follow me on all my social medias. Everything will be linked in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Whatever.